Hey guys, so today we're going to be discussing the top 5 worst summonable sparking characters released in 2024. This video should be going up like right at the end of the year, either the 30th or 31st of December. And we certainly have had some pretty bad sparkings release this year. I'm just trying to think back to the last few years. I mean, there always is at least like 1 or 2 really bad sparkings, but this year it feels like there's certainly way more than just 1 or 2. So I made this list. It's 5 characters. I think the number 5 slot, and maybe even potentially the number 4 slot, you could probably swap in like a pool of maybe 2 to 4 other characters in those slots. To me, the top 3 are pretty solidified on this list, but I think for number 4 and 5, there's like a pool of like 2, 3, or 4 other characters you can swap in. Just there, unfortunately, there were just a lot of bad summonable sparkings this year. So the list of 1% sparkings that dropped this year were just not really that great. We saw a lot of variance in how good some of them were. Like we have like insanely good 1% sparkings like Evil Boo. 1% sparkings like Tamagami number 3, and then we just had some really bad ones that we'll talk about in just a minute. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into the number 5 spot, of course, to start off this list. I just will mention that this the placements on this list were determined as of the character releasing. So obviously I'm not going to be talking about like sparking yellow Pan, Trunks, and Giru, how they perform in December for this list. It's going to be based on when they dropped. So for that character dropped in January, so I'd be basing their placement on this list based on how they performed when they dropped back in January. So obviously, it's not going to, because if I did that, it would essentially just be a bunch of older characters on here because they're power crept at this point. But let's go ahead and jump into number 5 again. I think there's a lot of characters you could potentially slide into the spot, but I'll talk about who I picked here. All right, so coming in at number 5 on the list is going to be Blue Daima Goku, or Goku Mini is what the game calls him. This guy came out to like right before Legends Fest, and he dropped with Glorio, the yellow Glorio, who also really didn't make a giant splash in any sense of the word in PvP at all. But at least Glorio has, some useful characteristics that he's bringing to the table. He's, I think, actually potentially going to be pretty good later on once we get more Daima characters that potentially have endurance. Glorio does remove buffs from standby when the enemy uses rushes and ultimates and stuff like that. So Glorio, I think, actually could be pretty solid, potentially. And he certainly doesn't do that bad damage, and he's supporting. So he's got some redeeming qualities, but this guy really does not. The only really good thing this guy does is have endurance. That's really it. He's got endurance, and he's got like a semi-good disrupt ability with basically what LF Kid Buu has with his Zenkai Awakening, which is to lower card draw speed every time he gets hit by an arts card. But a lot of characters these days don't even care about that, and especially when we're talking about a banner that dropped right before Legends Fest. This like literally what happened was we got Ultra Majin Vegeta, and then we got like this Goku right before Legends Fest. Now his banner is up all the way through, I believe it's the end of March, so it is up for a very, very long time. But this guy is just, it's really weird because they actually time gated a lot of his useful abilities behind 50 counts from the beginning of the match. So if we take a look at everything that's time gated here, he is actually, he's got a Dragon Ball tied to his main ability, and he's got 10 counts of type neutrality with his main ability. Both of those are locked behind 50 counts elapsing from the beginning of the fight. He also has type neutral defensively, which is locked behind 50 counts from the start of the fight. But the most egregious thing on here for me, oh yeah, he also has tied to his green card draw speed for 15 timer counts is locked behind 50 counts from the start of the fight, which I feel like most characters that are good, besides very few exceptions, have pretty easy to get double card draw speed these days. Unless you're like Daima Goku, like the red one, not this one, then you don't really need double card draw speed as frequently because you just hit so damn hard with like one card. But for like normal characters like this guy, you kind of just need easy access to double card draw speed. He has a pretty bad cover null condition with the enemy having to be below 50% health when attacking. It's kind of the opposite of Tree of Might Goku. He can also get cover null through using a Dragon Ball card and getting a Dragon Ball when he's on the battlefield. So kind of similar to Path to Power Kid Goku, but Path to Power Kid Goku came out over a year ago. When did he come out? Like I think it was October of 2023. So he's that mechanic's just power crept at this point. And then the most egregious thing for me is on the ultimate, he doesn't nullify endurance. He doesn't nullify endurance unless 50 timer counts have elapsed from the start of the fight. That is for a 2024, almost the end of 2024, 1% sparking. By the way, that headlines the banner. That I think adds a little bit. For me, this is really the thing that put this character on this list of number 5. Because again, I think there are probably some other characters you could slide in here over this Goku. But the thing with this Goku that's different than every other character we're going to see on this list except for one is this guy is headlining his own banner. This is not a 1% sparking that is featured next to a Legends Limited character. This is the main attraction of the banner next to Glorio. It's this character and Glorio. They're both 1% sparkings. They're the only new characters on the Daima banner. So this guy is who you're summoning for, and he's dropping day one, and he's just he's immediately just very underwhelming. So I just don't really understand what they were really thinking with this Goku. This guy does not have blast armor on his strike cards. He's not really good defensively. He's not really good offensively. He's got very weird cover null restrictions. He's not really supporting in any meaningful way. I mean, he has some support tied into his ultimate, but again, also locked behind 50 timer counts. So I don't really understand what the attraction is to even consider this character for any sort of even semi-competitive environment. He dropped day one on a banner that he was headlining, and he was just not very good right away. And what even makes matter, I mean, this isn't factoring into my analysis of this character, but to make matters even worse, we got like I guess I'll call him pseudo free-to-play green Daima Goku, similar to this character, who dropped before him that I would say is just a straight up better character than this guy. So one of the most weird, just strangely designed releases we've seen in a very long time. I don't know if they were just rushing out as many Daima characters as possible, and this guy just got like overlooked or not properly tested or whatever the case was, but this guy just certainly was not a very good release. So number 5 is going to be Blue Daima Goku. Let's move on to number 4. All right, so number 4 is going to be Baby Trunks, aka Trunks Parasitism is what the game would call him. This guy also was not particularly great on release. This guy dropped next to LF Super Baby 2, who I thought actually was a really good release. That Super Baby 2 was a very good character for a while. This guy is coming out, and he is just a super mega hyper offensive character. This guy has like almost zero defensive utility whatsoever. He's got some disrupt in his kit. I think he has like arts card draw speed down, but it's only to the current enemy. He's got some power down, but it's only to the current enemy. He's reducing some ki, and that's essentially all he's doing. And then when he gets hit, he has like the 2021 Fusion Zamasu ability where he's lowering enemy ki by 5 or whatever it is, and that's the extent of this character's defensive utility. So the main issue I really had with this character when he dropped was this guy got hit by an attack and he couldn't do literally anything to survive. He was just made of paper. He had no additional damage reduction. He had no endurance, no second life mechanics. He wasn't destroying cards unless it was specifically against a Sun Family enemy, which is a little bit strange. He only destroyed cards versus Sun Family enemies. And so that was really the extent of his defensive utility on every single setup, because that's all he had in his kit. So this guy got absolutely crushed, murdered on the defensive end. And then even talking about offenses, he was decently strong with the blast cards offensively. But the major problem with this guy offensively, which probably is factoring into the most of why I had this character on the third slot, or sorry, the fourth slot on this list, is 0. Literally impossible to get cover null with this character. He has 0 ways of getting special cover change nullification. As a hyper offensive character, where literally all this guy does is just blast cards, you need to have cover null. Like, duh. You need it. It's not an option. You must have it in this game. Even way back in March when this guy first dropped, you need to have cover nullification or you cannot play the game. Okay? And that's the way it's going to be forever, probably moving forward. And now we've sort of even evolved past that, where not only do you need to have cover null, you also have to be aware of all these anti-counter gauges. So this guy being a 2023 summonable sparking character that is an offensive character that literally has 0 ways of generating any kind of cover null whatsoever is absolutely insane to me. It's ridiculous. So this guy being a glass cannon that has no way of obtaining the most important offensive mechanic in the game automatically means this guy was just pretty much garbage on release. Like, there's really not much of an argument against that. And it kind of is unfortunate because he could have made for an interesting 1% sparking for GT, because this was back during the time when they were still in the midst of building GT up, right? We got Spirit Bomb Universe Goku, we got Super 17, this guy dropped next to Baby, and then of course when we entered the anniversary we're going to get Gogeta and then Omega, so and then, you know, Zenkais and stuff like that. So they were slowly building GT up, and this guy could have potentially been a nice addition to the team if he at least provided something. But essentially all you did was you entered the battlefield with this character, you went for a blast card, and then you drew a bunch of blasts, and hopefully the opponent didn't have any way to cover null them or anything, and that's you just prayed that they let you attack them without any interruption, which is not how it happened. So we got Baby Trunks, number 4 on the list. Let's move on to the top 3, which I think are pretty significantly worse than the 2 characters we talked about so far. All right, so coming in at number 3 is going to be Raisin and Lakase Assist. This was a 1% sparking that dropped alongside Tree of Might Goku. They, of course, dropped alongside the other Crusher Core characters as well, the Almond, Cacao, and Days. They dropped with them. So there were a total of 5 new sparkings in that banner. I mean, to be completely fair to this character, I guess, is they just were not giving their all when they were designing these guys, because they were all dropping at the same time. And I guess when there's 5 new sparkings dropping all in one banner, you're just going to have to make some of them bad. I mean, that's just the way it is. So this character, of course, got the short end of the stick from all the ones that dropped on that banner. I mean, to be fair, none of the Crusher Core characters are really that great. Cacao and Days, I think, are a little bit better than the other 2, Almond and then certainly this character. But, of course, the real prize of that banner was Tree of Might Goku. So I think these guys are just sort of like put on there as almost filler, I want to say, even though they're new sparkings. But this character has a very weird design. I'm not exactly sure what they were going for. I don't even think they themselves know what they were going for with this character. So this unit, their gimmick is they are going to be vanishing a lot. And they don't even... So here's the weird thing about this character. They have a system in their kit where they're enhancing their green, blue, and ultimate effects when they vanish 3 times. So you're thinking to yourself probably, okay, them being a support type character, and we can see that they are designated as a support type character, you would think, okay, well, they're probably going to have some really powerful supporting effects on their green, blue, and ultimate cards. Their blue card, we could take a look at the if special move arts is enhanced part. 15% to critical rate for 3 counts, and then all enemies get minus or plus 20% damage and receive for 15 counts. The green card, if special arts is enhanced, 20% damage inflicted for 15 counts to self, not to allies, to self, and then 15% to own critical rate for 15 timer counts. And then the ultimate, if ultimate arts is enhanced, 30% ultimate damage, and then 15% to critical rate. Why are they getting critical rate as a support character? That doesn't actually help them support or fulfill that support function whatsoever. Why are they getting ultimate damage? Why are they getting damage to themselves on this green card? Why are they getting damage received to enemy debuff? All 3 of these special, well, not just special, but all 3 of these additional enhanced effects should all be giving damage inflicted buffs to the team. Literally just delete all of these. Delete all of these and just replace them with plus 20% damage inflicted by allies for 15 counts. That's it. All you got to do. So this character, as a support unit, I feel like just completely fails in that role. One other thing I really hate about this character is their green card. I don't know what the hell they were thinking with this. This is the first time they've ever done this. this character actually is able to switch their element when using the green card. So it says if own element is yellow, which is what they start with, switches own element to blue. And then of course when they're blue, you use this again to switch back to yellow. So you basically switch back and forth between being yellow and blue via the green card effect, which is terrible. And the reason why is because sometimes you're not going to want to change your color, but you want to use the green card anyway because you get vanish back on the green card. Or maybe you just need to draw a card, or maybe you just need to get key. So there's various effects associated with the green card that you might not want to use to change your element, but you might want to gain a card or gain key or get your vanish back or get card draw speed. That's one of the things about this character too, is they actually don't have base card draw speed as summonable 2024 character. Another character we're going to talk about also has the same issue. This character doesn't have card draw speed built in to their unique ability. As a summonable 2024 character, they don't. They're getting card draw speed via their main ability, increase card draw speed by 1 level for 15 counts, which is like literally, that's actually 2021 design. And they're getting card draw speed for 10 counts with their green card. So what? They expect you to just pop your main and green card at the same time to get double card draw speed for 10 counts? That's just insane. As a 2024 release, this is what they're doing here. So I really don't like the element swapping on here. This character, essentially the reason why I think they did this is because they just didn't have the, again, development resources to make this like a traditional tag character. So they probably just decided to do this instead. They're like, okay, we don't have enough time or development or resources or money or whatever to fully develop this character as a tag unit. So instead, we're just going to make them this, whatever the hell this is. You just make them an assist character that essentially has the tag mechanic just built into their green card, which is strictly worse, right? Because essentially, if they had the tag mechanic, you wouldn't have to choose between, okay, do I want to switch element factors? Or even when I don't want to, do I want to switch element factors just to get the rest of the benefits from the green card, right? Because you could have just done that with the tag mechanic instead. So yeah, there's a lot of very strange choices made with this character. I don't really understand like half the reasons they went with so much critical rate. Like, why is there there's just a lot of nonsense here. They have bad defensive abilities. They don't do any damage. They have no card draw speed. I don't know. I don't really know what was the point of this character's release. It was just because they had to fill out the rest of the Crusher Core, and they're like, all right, whatever, just make them do whatever, I guess. So yeah, this character really had no impact whatsoever. They were terrible on release and remain terrible today. So Raisin Lakase Assist is going to be number 3 on the list. Let's move on to number 2. All right, now we're getting to the good parts here. We got Yellow Saiyan Saga Goku. I cannot believe this guy did not make number 1. Oh my god, what did they do this year, man? This guy's number 2. We'll get to number 1 after this. So I actually did a video earlier this year ranking the top 10 worst summonable Sparkings ever, and this guy actually made the list. That is how bad this guy was on release. So the first thing we just got to talk about right away is the fact that this guy does not have base card draw speed in his kit. 0. No card draw speed at all. We just talked about this with Raisin and Lakase Assist, which is also egregious, but at least they're a support character. This character's main goal, this character's main objective is to be an attacking character. In 2024, he doesn't have card draw speed. Remember when we were talking about LF Yellow Gogeta Blue releasing in 2020, and everybody was going crazy over him not having card draw speed? In 2020, this is 2024. 4 years later, doesn't have card draw speed on release in his base kit. Insanity. Another downside to this character is a huge chunk of his kit, including a second vanish gauge, is locked behind having a dead ally on top of a lot of extra damage. So you're never really going to really be able to realize the full potential of this character even remotely until you're already at a significant disadvantage in the fight. This is, I don't really think this is going to be something we're going to be seeing a lot moving forward. At least I hope not. This is something that we did see a decent amount of early on in the lifespan of Dragon Ball Legends, because having dead allies, it was a very common thing to get like buffs when you have defeated allies. And I think a lot of the reason for that was just to sort of coincide with like how things actually happened in the series, right? Goku on Namek has Krillin defeated, and then he gets a bunch of buffs. Like, that's, I think, what they were trying to recreate with this back in the early days of the game. But you look at how the game has evolved and the landscape of PvP and the progression of how matches go. You can't just give characters abilities that are completely locked by having dead characters. That means the character's going to be terrible unless they literally get like, I don't know, unless they on like at the beginning of the fight, unless they're already really good, I guess. But then that means you're going to lock behind like super crazy abilities by having a dead ally, and then they're going to become insane when you have a dead ally. I guess that could be a way that things work, maybe, but that's certainly not how this guy's working, right? This guy is severely undertuned for having a dead ally. This guy should have been what he is when having a dead ally just from the beginning of the fight. There is literally no reason for this guy to be what he is when having a dead ally, for needing actually having a dead ally. Like, there's no explanation for that. And then there's one other thing I want to mention quickly. I mean, you guys really know how bad this guy. I don't really need to go into super excruciating detail about this character. You guys know how bad he is. This right here exemplifies how absolutely terribly this character is designed. Following effects occur every time the enemy uses a special move, ultimate, or awakened arts card while this character is on the battlefield once only. Nullifies own unfavorable element factors for damage sustained for 10 counts. Shortens ally sub count by 3. Shortens allies sub count by 3. And then inflicts enemies with attribute downgrade minus 50% special move, ultimate, awakened arts power for 3 counts. Okay, so notice how when he's on the battlefield, he's lowering ally sub count by 3 counts. Let's take a look at the following. Activation count resets as character switches. The following effects occur when an enemy activates an ultimate, awakened arts, or rising rush while this character is on standby. Nullifies own unfavorable element factors for damage sustained for 10 counts. Shortens own sub count by 10. And then he does the same thing with the minus 50% to ultimate and awakened arts power for 3 counts. So why in the world is he lowering own sub count by 10 from standby and lowering ally sub count by 3 when he's on the battlefield? This should be reversed, right? This is a character that wants to have a dead ally. This is a character that does not want to come in and eat a rush and die to the rush. He has no endurance, no revive, no comeback, no indestructible. Why would you switch into a rush with this character? Can somebody explain? I'll wait all day. Ain't no one coming up with an explanation for this one. This is one of the single worst design choices I've ever seen in this game. Why is this designed like this? This line shortens ally sub count by 3, and this line shortens own sub count by 10. Those numbers should be switched. All they have to do is make this one up here shortens ally sub count by 10, and make this one shortens own sub count by 3. Boom, done. It's fixed. Not really a big deal at that point. Because then you can have this guy be on the battlefield. The enemy goes for like an ultimate or a rising rush that would have killed this character. You switch into someone else, they die, and then Goku can come in and get his full buffs from having a dead ally. Boom. It's so seamless. But whatever the hell this is how the character was printed. So I don't really understand it. I never will understand it. Nobody will ever understand it. It is worthless. It is terrible. And so is this character. So let's move on to number 1 next. All right, coming in at number 1 as the single worst summonable sparking in 2024 is going to be Blue Videl. I cannot believe we actually had a worse summonable sparking than Yellow Saiyan Saga Goku this year. You realize how tough that is to do? They had to legitimately I think my conspiracy theory with this character is they really didn't want to end the year with Saiyan Saga Goku being the worst summonable sparking of the year. I think they probably sat down when they were designing the Legends Fest Part 2 characters and the banners and the 1% sparkings, and they really were saying to themselves, like, guys, we really We cannot have this Saiyan Saga Goku be the worst summonable Sparking of the year. He headlined I forgot to mention this in the Saiyan Saga Goku part, actually, but he headlined his banner. He was a Mega Rising character released along Blue Yamcha. Blue Yamcha was a pretty damn good 1% Sparking. He headlined the banner. People weren't summoning for Yamcha on that banner. They were summoning for Goku, the new Goku. The hero of the Saiyan Saga was that Goku, that base Goku. His animations were pretty cool. I think his voice lines were good. I mean, everything aesthetically about the character was really sick. And then he's just like the worst designed character ever, almost. And they're like, all right, guys, we really didn't do justice to Saiyan Saga Goku, but we really cannot have a Goku, the protagonist, with really well-designed animations. He put a lot of effort and time into them. We cannot have him be the worst summonable Sparking of the year. And so I think they actually intentionally made this Videl as bad as she was. I guess as bad as she is. They, like, this character is so poorly designed, you actually would have needed to go out of your way to make her this bad. And they did. They actually did go out of their way to make her awful. I actually cannot believe this character exists because, again, I did a video ranking the top 10 worst summonable Sparkings ever released in this game. Saiyan Saga Goku made the list. This Videl, easily. I mean, she might even crack the top 5 on the list. She's that horrible. So there is one very egregious thing I guess we should just talk about first. This is this to me is what really makes it seem like they actually intentionally sabotage the character. Falling effects occur if there is a girls battle member other than this character in the party. Can we like look at the girls tag just by clicking on this? Yeah, we can. Here we go. This is the girls team. There we go. What do you guys think? Pretty good, huh? This is girls team pretty good. We got a lot of really insane units on here. Oh boy, yeah. Not only are they telling you to run this character on the team, they're telling you to run a second girls character on the team with her. They want you to run 2 girls characters in a meta with Ultra Majin Vegeta, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Daima Goku, Transforming Vegeta Blue, Beast Gohan. Like, the hell is this? Here's what she gets when you run a girl's battle member with her. 20% damage. I feel like they... Like, why are they locking damage behind this? Here's the egregious part. It's the next 2 effects she gets from this. She gets endurance. And then she gets 20% damage inflicted by allied tag girls characters. So number one. Why is the support restricted to girls? You ain't running a 3rd girl's character on this team next to her, plus whatever else you're going to be using to trigger this effect to activate. I'll tell you that much. Why the hell is this restricted to girls? Can anybody tell me? I legitimately cannot tell you. And then endurance. I mean, dude, they just give endurance to every character for free. Every single character has some second life mechanic. Basically every character. Very few. If you don't have endurance right now as a summonable character, you have to be broken beyond belief to be good. Essentially. And they're locking it behind a girl's restriction. This, so I mean, is it from here on your screen? I'm tapping the screen from here to here. This chunk from where the screen, for where you can start from the following to here. This chunk might be the single worst part of any unique ability in the game's history. There might not be a worse chunk of any unique ability than this. Ever. For any summonable character. This is it. Like, for the person that designed this, I'm talking to you directly. Is there something going on at home that we should be aware of? Is there something going on that, you know, maybe you should tell us, tell the class, share with us, that we should know before you go ahead and design another character moving forward? I think we should know. This is not a thing. Like, this is I don't know. I don't have an explanation for this. This is Twilight Zone level stuff, man. I have no way of defending this, no way of explaining this, other than whoever designed this is an idiot. Period. You are dumb. That's it. The other egregious thing, and you know, the funny thing is about this character is she's actually worse than I thought she was when I first looked at her kit. I guess we can quickly talk about this as well. I'm not really a huge fan of this mechanic. Applies the following effects to self upon landing a tackle or a quick attack hit. 10% damage inflicted for 30 counts. That's fine. I understand that. Restores Vanish Engage by 100%. So first of all, you're not tackling without Vanish. Unless you're like battle rank 10. The only time this is ever going to be valuable or useful or anything remotely resembling the word good is if you just end a combo with a quick attack. That's the only time I can see this being useful. And in that sense, it is decent because then you could just finish the combo and get your Vanish back. But you're not just simply quick attacking. Like, you're not sitting on the battlefield in full screen, long range, without Vanish, and then going for a quick attack. That's not happening. Like, you're not doing that. But in the sense that maybe you PV the opponent and you finish a combo and then you go for a quick attack at the end and then get your Vanish back that way, I can understand that for sure. But you're never tackling without Vanish. I mean, it's stupid to even like say it. So yeah, a little bit of a strange mechanic there. But I wanted to talk about this. So initially, I'd actually thought that she would gain 2 Dragon Balls when she does 5 strike cards. That to me was pretty interesting. That actually is an insanely broken ability if that's how this would have worked. But that's not the way it works. This is actually tied into her death buffs. So essentially what this is saying is if you had used 5 strikes with her before she died, and then she dies, you get 2 Dragon Balls at that point. Which is just, I mean, it's just bad. It's terrible. First of all, you're never running this character without her girl's condition. So essentially what I'm saying is you're never running this character. Ever. Never. There's literally zero reason to ever run this character. But, if you are getting the girl's condition, you're not really, like, she's not going to be your first character dead, usually, right? I would hope not, because she's got endurance, she's got support. I mean, it's a pretty good character to have around. So the fact that you're not just able to get these Dragon Balls right away and they're tied to the death buffs of the character, that just makes this almost worthless. I mean, it's not actually worthless, but it is way less useful than I thought it was. So, yeah, there is literally nothing at all about this character that is redeeming whatsoever. She has the single worst chunk of a unique ability I think probably that's ever existed, which is this. She doesn't really do a lot of damage. She doesn't tank at all. The only redeeming quality, I guess, is this. The 15% of damage for allies for 15 counts whenever she gets hit. But the only way that's even good is if you time this to activate with the disrupt. Because she takes so much damage from just anything that you're not even going to really realize the value from this unless you pair it up with the disrupt to have the opponent's combo get like forcefully stopped. So I don't know, man. She doesn't have blast armor either. So just one of the most puzzling releases of all time. I don't really have any words for this. I mean, I could keep going on and on and on about this character, but this is actually a special release because I think it is, in my mind, it is the only release I can think of ever in the history of the game that actually feels to me like it probably was intentionally sabotaged. I think they intentionally made her bad because there's no way they were going to drop her with that restriction and like think she was going to be good. It's impossible. There's no way. There's no way. No. All right. I guess just to recap, number 5 we had Blue Goku Mini, the Daima Blue Goku. Number 4 we had the Green Trunks Parasitism or Baby Trunks. Number 3 was Yellow Raisin Lakase Assist. Number 2 was Yellow Saiyan Saga Goku, and then number 1 is Blue Videl. By the way, I will end this by saying I don't even think it's particularly close between Saiyan Saga Goku and Blue Videl. I was just like, I thought there was like a 1% chance that they were gonna release a worse character than Saiyan Saga Goku this year. I think that Saiyan Saga Goku is like handily better than Videl. I think it's like pretty clear. And that is actually scary because now I'm actually going into 2025 thinking, are they going to intentionally sabotage characters in 2025 now? They've done it with this character. I don't know. Maybe there's some secret, positive effect that they're getting from sabotaging certain characters. I don't know. I actually don't know. It's a little bit worrisome because this is almost certainly intentional. There's no way this wasn't intentional. So let me know what you guys think. I will see you in the next one.